Hi, everybody, and welcome to Kentucky Derby Prep Recap. I'm Dan Illman, along with Mike Beer. We're going to take a look back on Saturday, January the 30th for the Grade 3 Robert B. Lewis Stakes. Bob Baffert sending out Medina Spirit at even money, facing the Breeders' Cup Juvenile runner-up, Hot Rod Charlie. Let's watch the break for the Robert B. Lewis. Hot Rod Charlie is the number 4. His breaks okay, and we're going to see Medina Spirit right now from the rail just go right to the front, control the pace, and really, I think the trip had a lot to do with his success.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Medina Spirit was obviously the horse to beat on the way in, Dan, but and they did the right thing by using his speed here. But, I think it's at least worth pointing out that this horse was under pressure all the way around the track here. He never really got a breather. And, at this point, he's got a couple of horses chasing him. But when they get to the top of the stretch, he looks like he's in pretty deep water when the closers come after him.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and the folks will see at home. But Medina Spirit, you're right, is taking a lot of pressure right now from the number 7, Wipe the Slate. And it's worth noting that Wipe the Slate's going to end up finishing last in this race, beaten about 20 lengths. It just shows that the pace was really hot for him. I like that they took the 3 Parnelli off, dropped him down inside. We're seeing Hot Rod Charlie begin to creep up. A little bit of a breather for Medina Spirit, but not much.
No, yeah. I mean, basically he ran the entire distance in this race with somebody, hot on his heels here. He's going to put the chasers away right about now, Dan. But as you've already mentioned, the horses from the back of the pack are already on the move here. So it's not like Medina Spirit's going to get to settle in here on the lead. He's already under a ride and the closers are already on the way.
Medina Spirit hops to his right lead here a little bit early, perhaps showing a somewhat some fatigue, and it looks like he's in hot water, as you mentioned. On the outside is Roman Centurion. In between horses is Hot Rod Charlie, and you got to give Medina Spirit for digging down deep. No one would have faulted him, I think, if he gets beaten here or runs third. He refuses to lose.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if he had run second or third here, I think everybody would have said, well, he got beat, but he ran the best race. Just the fact that he manages to hang on, listen, there's certainly a way to look at it and think that Roman Centurion and Hot Rod Charlie hung a little bit in this race. But, that may not be the case. This looks like a pretty good horse. It's not like this is like a race that came out of nowhere for Medina Spirit, Dan. He was even money in here for a reason.
And this was over a wet racetrack as well. It was a little bit of precipitation in Southern California this week, so the track was rated good. Medina Spirit in his prior start ran second to the very highly regarded Life is Good, also trained by Bob Baffert. He earned a 99 buyer in that narrow loss. The buyer dropped a little bit to 91 in this sort of fast, early, slow, late edition of the Robert B. Lewis. It flatters Life is Good somewhat. This is a horse we'll talk about a little bit more from a pedigree standpoint in the DRF breeding report we'll post on Tuesday, but he does have a little bit of a distance pedigree. His sire was an underrated horse for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, he was. Protonico was an underrated horse. Yeah, so far, this horse looks pretty good. I mean, you're right in a lot of ways that this flatters his stablemate, Life is Good, who at this point looks like he could be anything. But, even with Medina Spirit's buyer dropping a little bit in this race, I don't really feel like that means he ran any worse than he did last time. I mean, he did all the heavy lifting in this race.
I thought Hot Rod Charlie ran pretty well in this race, considering it was his first start since the Breeders' Cup, and he was in between horses in the stretch. He was punching on a bit. I can give him one more chance for Doug O'Neill. He didn't have to be completely cranked up for the Robert B. Lewis, and I would expect better. I think there are some distance questions he's going to have to address, but all in all, not a bad first start as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, I think you might say that about both he and the horse that wound up finishing second, Roman Centurion, just because they're both so lightly raced and Hot Rod Charlie was off the layoff here. The flip side of that, of course, is they're not going to get too many better setups in this stand, sitting off of a really hot pace and coming after a tired leader in the stretch, and they could not get by this horse.
I'm not willing to say that Spielberg, the 4th place finisher, is a box office flop just yet, but I don't think he's a Kentucky Derby horse. I think he's been somewhat exposed already in the major races, and I just think the competition's only going to get tougher.
Yeah, that's how I feel about him as well, Dan. I don't know that I was his biggest fan heading into this race, and he really didn't do that much effective running in this spot at all.
So Medina Spirit, gate to wire, nice solid performance, running hard all the way, holding off the challenges of Roman Centurion, holding off the challenges of a horse that's battle-tested. And Hot Rod Charlie, looks like he'll continue on the road to the Kentucky Derby in Southern California for Bob Baffert.